My name is Shiloh.
And I'm Dani.
This is my wife, and this is our new channel. This is our first episode of this podcast, and this is New Birth Fitness.
Yep, New Birth Fitness.
We are all about empowering moms to transform lives and change the world.
A little bit about what that actually means and how this is really a full circle moment for us.
Yep.
We wanted to just kind of be more of ourselves on here so that you guys can see, where we come from and what we want to do for you guys, but also, the ideas that we have that we're going to be bringing, and just talk a little bit about our journey and what inspired or what was an inspiration for, first of all, this channel, but next, this podcast.
We want this to be a safe space where many mothers around the world, where you can just come up here and talk about your life, different things you're going through, different struggles, different successes, transformations, to where it's not only fitness related, but it can tie back in many ways. But a lot of time, fitness related, it can tie into improving a lot of people's lives. So we want this to be a safe space where I think a lot of the time mothers feel like they're the only one experiencing, hey, I'm tired all the time. Hey, I feel like I'm losing me.
Overwhelmed,
or overwhelmed. I feel like a lot of time it's like, oh, this is just me feeling this way. So it'd be nice to hear other people's perspective and see that you're going through a lot of the same things. And it leaves a space to where there's a lot of growth that can happen that way. Because we don't want it just to be about, hey, these are all the things that are going on that is kind of holding me back. Are in your life and things that can slow down progress in different areas, but they also can speed you up based on using those things as fuel versus using them as a roadblock. So there's so many different things. We want to bring women of all different backgrounds, whether that's work, whether it's different races, and just kind of all come to the same place for growth. But on that same token, it's not going to just be interviews. Like sometimes maybe me and her together, me and my wife. Other times maybe I'll bring on a guest. Maybe other times she might bring on a guest. Maybe sometimes just me and her speaking about different issues that go on in the world that relate to women and how you can, grow and be better and all these different things. So we don't want it to be locked in and rigid to it's got to be this way or it's got to be this way. I want to bring value to you guys in so many different aspects.
Yeah. Personally, we've dealt with a lot of different kinds of people. We've dealt with single mothers, young mothers, mothers that are older, mothers that have kids in college or going away, and personally for myself, I remember when I first got started on this journey, it was really to find myself. I didn't know, I knew that there was more inside, but I didn't really know how to unlock it. So I figured that the best way to do that was to, work on myself. And I didn't know how to get started doing that. So kind of when I came to you, and we'll tell you guys a little bit about the story.
I love that real quick though. You said you didn't know how to get started. I feel like a lot of people, not just women, not just mothers, get stuck in that I don't know how to do something. So because I don't know how, I'm going to stop there and I'm not even going to push forward because nobody's giving me the answer. What made you push forward even though you didn't know how?
Well, because I feel like it comes to a point where it's like enough is enough. You get tired of feeling the same way, whether it's I feel insecure or I feel stuck or I don't like how I see myself now, or I just feel lost. Like motherhood has taken over everything. Where am I ever going to get a safe, just a space for myself? So when you're always in the loop of waking up, doing the same thing, you're taking care of your kids, you're either working or coming back home, taking care of the house, or even if you're a stay-at-home mom, it just feels very repetitive. So when do you get out of that loop? So for me, it was more like,
where's a chance to actually grow? Where's a chance to actually get better?
Exactly. So for me, it was more like, I have to do this for myself because if not, I'm going to continue in the cycle. And a lot of women, I feel like they won't reach out to anybody because of the same feeling. Or even something that's very real for us moms is mom guilt. Okay. So if I take an hour out of my day to work on me, that means that maybe my kids are going to need me in that hour, my family, dinners, all these different things that you start feeling this mom guilt. Like, wow, I'm working on myself, but now I'm taking from somebody else.
And that's a really big component because I feel like you can also flip that too.
Yep.
Because a lot of time, even though you have that mom guilt, also, if you're not doing the things to work on yourself to be better as a mom, like you personally, these are the things that I care about. These are the things, my ambitions, the things I aspire to do. You're not going to show up in the way that you should for your husband, for your boyfriend, for
And your
your
children.
kids,
Hmm.
where they get to see a person that is really not living at their maximum potential. They get to see a person that's kind of always
Yep.
down, maybe not showing the same love and affection for them that they would really. So really by working on you, you actually get to show up in the way that's more authentically
Yeah.
you.
And there's a lot of things that, we're not really sure and we don't know how to pinpoint what's wrong,
Yep.
but when you start working on yourself, those things start to come up. Cause I remember, when we first met, it was more of like a confidence thing.
Mm-hmm.
It was, I show up, but the way that I walk, the way that I speak, is not really reflecting, everything that's inside. It's
Yep.
more like I'm safer staying here.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a lot of like pulling that out, pulling that out in yourself. And when you start feeling better about yourself, and not necessarily with, just looking better, but I actually did that. Like I actually did something that I never thought I could do. It starts unlocking things in your mind, and sooner or later you become, kind of addicted to that feeling of I'm working on myself. I'm
That's
working
all.
on myself.
That's always an interesting thing too. A lot of time, like that safety. A lot of
Hmm.
time we want to be safe. We don't want to be uncomfortable.
Yep.
And how a lot of time what's safe now is actually painful later.
Hmm.
What's safe now actually leads to a more dangerous future.
Hmm.
It's actually better to be in an uncomfortable situation so that you can grow and get better. So that now later on, safety is actually real.
Hmm.
Because if you're not doing the things now to work on you, whether that's mentally, whether that's
Hmm.
emotionally, whether that's financially, then when those issues hit later on, you're not prepared and ready to handle the situation because you didn't put the work in earlier on.
Yep.
So we all have to go through these battles. Don't look at things as, oh, this obstacle is in the way. I'm having a hard time with this, so I'm going to stop. Hey, clearly this means it's not meant to be. Because most of the time, when these obstacles come up, they're showing you that
Hmm.
you're on the right path.
Yep.
Because typically when you're on the right path is when all the things in the world come up to stop you from doing that thing. And then
Right.
later on, you'll come back full circle and be like, wow, if only I would have been doing that much sooner, where would I
Hmm.
be right now?
Yeah, I've
Hmm.
definitely had that feeling of, wow, imagine if I was doing this all along. So, why not just get started? Take the first step, to work on yourself. Whether maybe that's not maybe the gym or, fitness
Hmm.
is not
Yep.
the first step. Sometimes
Yep.
the first step is making a decision and saying, I'm fed up. I'm
Hmm.
tired with
Yep.
how I'm feeling about myself. So from there, don't get stuck there, but say, okay, what I did was I reached out. I reached out to you because I knew that you were a person that was into fitness. I knew that you had the track record of working with all kinds of people.
Yep.
So I said, okay, if I don't know how to do this, I need to come to somebody that does. So I feel like one of those things that people never tell you, but it makes the biggest difference is finding somebody that actually
It's huge.
knows what they're talking about and that can be a mentor to you.
We can't get
So,
stuck in our own heads and our ego, like we're gonna figure it out, we're gonna handle it, we're gonna make it work. Because a lot of time people say, I'm working on me, I'm working on me, I'm working on me, and get stuck in this loop of if you really look 5 years
mhm,
later, you look 10 years later, and you're still the same person.
yep.
So it's like if I can't figure it out myself, at some point you have to say, if I can't figure it out myself, then I need to go ask somebody else for help who does have the result, not just anybody. You don't want to go to somebody, let's say you're trying to get a trainer or you're trying to get results. You don't want to go to somebody that has not given anybody any results.
Hmm.
Right? You want to go to somebody that has a proven track record. If you're going to somebody, let's say you're trying to learn to make money, you want to go to somebody that's making money. Don't just go to any person that has no results because that's how people get in bad situations. So I love that you brought that up.
Yeah, it was basically the first step for me in saying, first acknowledging that I'm going around in the same circle over and over, and second was just reaching out and saying, okay, I need help with this. And then after that, I guess my question to you is, what are the biggest differences that you've seen
In you.
in
Okay.
me from the
Hmm.
very beginning to now?
Well, one you brought up already was confidence.
Mm-hmm.
Confidence is big. And I really say it really stems from your self-worth.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like earlier on, you didn't really believe in who you really were. So when you don't really believe in who you really are, you allow certain people to treat you a way that you don't really deserve to be treated.
Mm-hmm.
And when you do that, it just chips away at you more and more and more to where it's kind of like once you finally get to a place to where you're in a place where you actually are seeing yourself worth and you actually are deserved, it's like, do I really belong here?
Mhm.
So I feel like self-worth was a big one in the beginning. Once you got that down, you started to realize that's where I feel like the confidence stuff came from. Because
Mhm.
once you believe in who you are and
Mhm.
what you bring to the table, you don't have to settle. You don't have
Mhm.
to settle for a person treating you this way, or you don't have to settle for a job treating you this way.
Mhm.
You can say, I know who I am. I know what I bring to the table. And if you don't see what I bring to the table, then maybe you don't deserve to be around me.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I
Yeah,
would
that's
say
big.
self-worth, confidence, and even you're pushing for things. I feel like a
Mhm.
lot of time in the beginning, you say you want to do this, you say you want to do that,
Mhm.
but then wouldn't really push yourself to start it. But
Mhm.
once you worked on that self-worth, I
Mhm.
started saying, wait, you going for this? Oh, wait, you
Mhm.
accomplished this? Wait, you. So honestly, it turned from, motivating you, mentoring and things of that nature to like a lot of cases, you inspired me, right? To push myself to be better. Like, hey, she doing this, so nah, I gotta, I gotta step my game up a little bit. So,
Yeah.
everything I do is for,
Mhm.
you and my boys, our boys
Mhm.
together, Nathan and Sebastian. So just like, we got a 9-year-old and a 6-year-old.
Mhm.
So everything we do is for them. So I
Yeah.
would say that's the biggest things off the back that come to mind. Of course, there's other ones, right? But
Mhm.
I feel like self-worth, confidence is two very big ones that I feel like tie into a lot of things that a lot of mothers are going with.
Mhm.
Because when you're spending all the time pouring into everybody else and you're not pouring into yourself, it's like, are these people really here for me? Or is it just because of the things I'm doing for them? Is it just the things
Yeah,
I'm
or the
providing for
version
them?
of yourself that is not really the version that helps them.
Yeah.
So when you don't have, and I feel like that's one of the things is when you don't have any self-worth, when you don't have any confidence, when you don't show up like yourself, you have no boundaries because everybody just treats you like how they think they should
Yeah.
treat you, but once you start feeling like, wait, hold on, I know that I'm capable of so many
Yeah.
different things, but you're only seeing, one part because this is what I have allowed. Then you start to understand, okay, maybe that was my fault. And
Hmm.
sometimes I feel like, okay, those things happen, but how do you get to the next level? Like how
Yeah.
do you survive that?
You have
So,
to, because I feel like a lot of time it's easy for people to push blame.
mhm,
This is happening because of this person.
mhm,
This is happening because of my husband. This is happening because of my boyfriend. This is happening because of my friend. And maybe it is, but it's like, how does that really help you? You
mm-mm,
can't just change those other people, but what you can change is you and how you respond to the different things that is happening in your life.
right,
You can change it by saying, if I show up differently in those situations, maybe the situation changes.
mhm,
Or if the situation doesn't change when I show up differently and the person is not valuing me or my circumstances or the people around me, maybe it's time to take yourself out of that environment.
mhm,
And sometimes that can be rough. Sometimes that can mean moving to a different place.
mhm,
Maybe sometimes that means disconnecting from everybody and just focusing on you.
yeah.
Maybe sometimes that means divorce. Maybe so there's so many hard things that anything in life before things get good, it has to go from the bad place to get over that hurdle to finally get to the good place.
Yeah, and I feel like one of those things that really came up was, when you are growing and when you're expanding your mindset and
Mhm.
when you're trying to get better as a person, sometimes you want to drag other people along and say, well, I know it's possible. Why don't you do it? It's
Mhm.
going to make you feel better. It's going to make the situation better. But you can't make other people do what you have been willing to
Mhm.
do. So
Yeah.
sometimes I feel like, for us in general, and that's one of the reasons why we connected instantly
Mhm.
was because we knew that we were people that wanted to give back,
Yep.
that we wanted to, we knew that we were people that wanted to, inspire others to help, to do whatever we could to help other people on their journey as well. So that was one of the first things that inspired me. But also, you have to understand that not everybody's ready for the change
Mhm.
and
It's
not
big.
everybody is willing to put in the work.
Mhm.
So even when it comes to, fitness, you're not going to get any kind of results if you come in, one week and you're, coming, you're doing everything for one week and then the next week you drop off. And then next thing you know, the person is trying to contact you. Hey, you're going to
Mhm.
come work
Yep.
out. You're going to come, or what have you been doing? And there's no answer.
And by the way, it's okay for that to happen. Like, it's
Hmm.
okay that certain people are just not ready to do it yet. Certain people just don't want to do it yet. By trying to force them to do it, you're really only hurting yourself and you're hurting them and you're hurting the relationship.
Mm-hmm.
Like I tell people all the time, if you focus on trying to drag, and this could be most situations, but if you try to focus on dragging somebody into a situation and they're not really ready for it yet, what good outcome comes out of that?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Even let's say you're a person that you always take on the baggage and pain from everybody else. So it's like when you see this person hurting financially or hurting emotionally or hurting in all these different ways. And let me use an analogy just so you can understand this. Let's say you're on a beach, right? And there's two people drowning in the water, right? And you know good and well you cannot swim. You know good and well you cannot swim, and you go out there to go try to save those people. What's probably going to happen? Even if it's not even two people, let's say it's one person. You go out there to try to save that one person, and you know you don't know how to swim. What's probably going to happen?
You're gonna drown.
You're going to drown because it's a mechanism that people are trying to save themselves. So actually, they're probably going to push and pull you down to try to save themselves. A lot of people do that in situations where you barely got your own head above water,
And
right?
trying to help
And you're
somebody
trying to help
else.
somebody else. So what's going to happen? You're going to go down with them. So how you going to take the burden of your husband, your boyfriend, your wife, your friends, or whoever,
Your
right? If you
family.
can't even hold on to what you're doing right now. So now you take that same situation and let's say you're on the beach and let's say you're a person, you're a lifeguard. You've been doing this for 20 years and you are a person that's really good at swimming. If you go out there now to go save that same person, the chances of you surviving, coming back with them
And
is
saving them.
so much higher.
Yeah.
So it's night and day difference. So I always say, instead of trying to help people when your head is barely above water yourself, help people from the overflow. Once you're at a place where you can help people from the overflow, now you can help millions of lives. You can help millions of people versus trying to help a person one on one. And now neither one of y'all make it. Who really won there, especially when you have a family, right? If you're trying to help this friend or somebody else and you go under, that costs your family. That costs your kids. They don't get to see who you really are, your husband. So focus more on you. That doesn't mean be selfish. That doesn't mean take away from other people, but you got to make sure you're in the right place to be able to help in the first place. So that's why we're doing what we're doing now. Now we can help from the overflow. What do you think is one of the biggest problems that women suffer with nowadays? Like, what's one of those things that you feel like a lot of women deal with?
I feel like a lot of it is, and we're hearing it more and more, is anxiety and depression. Anxiety to just get started and do something, or anxiety to be in a public place, or anxiety,
Where do you think
you
that
know,
anxiety and depression came from? Like, where do you think that stems from
I
for?
feel like for women, it's, having constant things play in their mind about, I should be doing this,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
should be feeling this way, I should be doing more, my kids, my family. It's a lot of
This isn't what
things.
I thought it should be.
Exactly. Or, you were expecting something else. But I feel like the only way to really reverse it, and I know because I've been there personally, is to do something about it. Like, if you don't do anything
Yeah.
about it, you're going to sit in that anxiety and you're going to sit in that depression
hmm
as long as you don't actually take action.
Because sitting in that anxiety and depression
Causes more anxiety and
causes
depression.
more anxiety, depression.
More
The
anxiety,
thing you
depression. Yeah.
focus on is what grows. So if
Yeah.
you're focusing on all the bad things, you're missing out on all the good things you could be doing with the things that are right around you that could change your life, but you're just not seeing it
Yeah.
because of
And
yeah.
actually, I've dealt with women that they feel like this situation is never going to change.
hmm
This is just how it
Yep.
is. Um, and when you start working those mindset things that are so important, I feel like that is when they start seeing, okay, maybe this is why I felt stuck,
Yeah.
was because I wasn't actually doing something about the situation. I was just thinking about it over and over.
And by the way, they're right. If you're like, this is never going to change, you're going to be right. It's human nature to want to be right. So when we say certain things, we actually make them to be true. We talked about this on a YouTube video not too long ago where the power of your words is everything.
Yes.
If you don't believe you can do something, you're saying, I can't do that. Guess what? What do you think is going to happen? You're not going to be able to do that. So that's actually one thing I love about the gym is it's a way to show people in real time what they're capable of. So whether it's a person starting from scratch, I don't know anything at all, and they might think I can't even pick up the bar. I might can't even do this.
That was
Can't,
me.
yep. I can't even get the form down. It's too much. It's too
Yeah.
overwhelming. Why is all these different machines and exercise and stuff in the gym? How am I going to learn all of this? Next thing you know, you're doing it all yourself. But the thing, I love that when you can see when somebody's able to do something that they didn't think they were going to be able to do, like, wait,
Wow.
I just did that? Right? You can see the confidence and stuff just building even from the beginning. Wait, so if I did that on day one, what is a month going to look like from now? What is a year going to look like from now? By continuously doing that same thing over and over. And a lot of time people are judging themselves and comparing themselves based on other people that have already been, let's say, for example, let's say somebody comes into the gym and they look at me and they say, wow, he's doing this, he's doing that. He looks his way X, Y, Z. You're comparing yourself to somebody that's been doing this for like 15 years. I didn't start out doing this. I didn't start out looking this way. I didn't start out doing the things I'm doing right now. Same work. So if you're gauging yourself based on somebody that has already been doing it for 15 years, how are you going to put yourself in a situation where you're going to even have confidence in yourself to try it? Why don't you compare yourself to what they were like day one? If you compare yourself to what they were like day one, you have a completely different thought process. Oh, wait, they sucked at this. Oh, wait, they couldn't even do this. Oh, wait, they failed on this. Wait, they didn't even look. Now, when you compare yourself to that person, but guess what? They kept coming back.
Yeah.
They kept trying it over and over. They kept trying it over and over. And that's what got them to the place of where they are now. Thing is, a lot of people just want to hop in and just be great at something.
Yeah.
There's nothing that somebody's just great at that they just naturally were great at. You could take the best athletes around the world, the best people in certain professions. You might have a natural ability to be better than average than most people, but you didn't specialize and get to the point of where you're really at just overnight. That's not how it works. So be okay with starting low and working your way up, especially if it's something you're passionate about. If it's something you're passionate about, and you start it here and you work your way up, people can feel that energy from you if it's something you're serious about. And next thing you know, because in the beginning, you gotta be able to clap for yourself. If you can't clap for yourself and nobody else around you is clapping yet, it's not going to work.
No.
Because what happens is now if you don't get enough likes, you don't get enough comments, you don't get enough attention, you don't get enough support, what's going to happen? You're going to stop doing that thing that could have been your dream, your passion, before it even gets a chance to flourish. But if you clap for yourself first, eventually you clap for yourself enough and people can feel your passion and feel your energy. Guess what? Eventually they're going to clap for you too. But first it starts with you believing in yourself to even get to that point.
Yeah.
What's any other question?
I don't know.
I like this. It's natural.
Yeah.
Another thing that's interesting, like until we started kind of, normally we're people that kind of keep to ourselves. We love helping people, but people kind of naturally gravitate based on, hey, this person, we helped out this person, but we never really just put ourselves out there. So I love this, right? But it's interesting when things come full circle in a way that until we started doing these videos, I didn't realize that my life was kind of already set up to head this direction. From my dad being a pastor and having a women's and children's shelter. And I grew up around people that were homeless, families that had drug problems, alcohol addiction, you know, mom just disappearing and the kid having nowhere to be, or father disappearing and now it's just a mom fending herself, don't have food. And we would take them into our home and help them and put them on feet, clothes, food, and just how it was a women's and children's shelter. And now it's the same thing to where full circle we're giving back to moms. And
even you finding me.
Yeah, it's crazy how that works, right?
Yeah.
Because, giving back to moms, why it's so powerful to me is moms are the glue that holds families together. And on top of that, they touch everybody in the world. So from the kids that are coming up to the husband to the teachers, right? You're teaching the new generation. So I feel like moms have their hands in so many different pots where they're touching so many different people that by helping this one mom, you can actually impact hundreds of lives, thousands of lives because of helping this one mom. So it's just, I feel like it just kind of how
Yeah,
the world works.
I feel like it was definitely already in you. But when we started brainstorming more about like what kind of impact we wanted to create, we were like, wow, it only makes sense to target the moms. First of all, because I feel like that's just a passion and something that for you is in you.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, it's something that we agreed on, not just you watching other people's stories, but
Yep.
when we got closer, how, you know, changing a woman, a mother's life
Yep.
really does impact her children.
Mm-hmm.
And even seeing the work that you had done in me and the decisions that I was able to make afterwards that ultimately have completely changed my life and my kids' life. So I think it was more of a confirmation that we had to move forward in this direction and just really bring it together. So I think that that is like our main mission, our main purpose, to really be able to give as much value as possible because we know the impact that it can create.
And if I'm being honest, it almost started to feel like being selfish a little bit, like not be doing a disservice to people by only helping people that are right here around us. Like
Mm-hmm.
when you see so many people's lives changing from the impact we're making on people and you're keeping it just to yourself, it's like, it almost starts to feel like we're not doing enough.
Yeah.
Like
And
we need
seeing
to,
also that a lot of people, you know, looked up to us
yeah.
and feeling like, wow, you know, we want to get closer. We
Mm-hmm.
want to know more about how you think and saying, why wouldn't we want to give back?
Yeah.
So in a way, it was the perfect time,
Mm-hmm.
you know, to say we're going to do this. And I think for us it's more of bringing together our qualities because we've talked about this
Yeah.
before
Yeah.
about how, you know, to be a person that can, you know, guide other people, you have to have, you know, this leadership quality. You have to be able to inspire others and you have to make them want to do
Yeah.
things for themselves.
Mm-hmm.
You can't, definitely in this space, you can't force people.
Nope.
So I feel like the best thing that you can do is to be an example for others.
Mm-hmm.
So even doing this is not just I'm touching one or two lives,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm being an example of how everybody can do the
Yeah.
same thing, you know, just by telling your story, just by, you know, sharing the things. And that's what we want to do. You know, we want to share other people's, you know, journey
Yeah.
so that we can help to inspire you to get started.
Yeah, because leaders show up in different ways. It's not, oh, it has to be this way or it has to be
Mm-hmm.
that way. Everybody has a leadership quality, and it's up to you if you choose to enhance it, work on it, make it better. It doesn't matter what it is. Something that right now you might be looking at like, I can just cook, or I'm just good at cleaning,
Mm-hmm.
or I'm just good at this, and you're knocking it down, but there's somebody else in the world that is flourishing in that same thing you're saying is just this,
Mm-hmm.
right? So sometimes not even overlooking the things around you that you could literally turn into something that changes your life, your family's life, your kids' life, your husband, wife, whoever, right? You want to make sure that you're not downplaying the abilities you have just because it's not measuring up to look like somebody else's ability. Everybody isn't meant to do the same thing, and that's okay, because if everybody's doing the same thing, what would the world look like right now? Right? Everybody, there's a reason why we were all born and have different natural abilities that we have to work on. It's so that we have diversity. There's so different things can be built. There's people that build certain things. There's people that teach those things. There's people that provide services for different people. Everybody does different things to bring about the world we have. So we're doing our part to give back and contribute in the way and the gifts that God has given us.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
I mean, this is just the beginning, honestly. There's so much more we want to bring to the channel. I feel like this is just a good way to start with. I mean, this is how New Birth Fitness started.
Mm-hmm.
It's us.
Yep.
Like it started with us, so it makes no sense to start with anything but us.
Mm-hmm.
But like I said, we want to bring different people on the channel. We want to talk about different ideas. Like you guys can ask questions, leave feedback for things you want to hear about, different topics you want to cover. Like I said, this isn't just gonna be fitness. It's not just going to only be mindset. It's not going to only be the different things you go about in life. Like we want to make sure that it's a space where it's just transformation. We want transformation. Anybody watching our videos, anybody in this journey with us, we want you to go from we couldn't do this, we didn't believe we could do this, was this even possible, to now you transform into a different person that can see the possibilities are endless.
Yeah, because we're 100% certain
Mm-hmm.
that with the information and the value that we give, you can do that too. So we wouldn't be as passionate and as ready to do this if we didn't think that we could help you in that
Mhm.
transformation, in that journey.
So this is transformation. Let's make it happen. New Birth Fitness family. One of many videos to come.
Yeah.
And, thanks for being here.
Can't wait for you guys to see what's on the way.
Coming soon. Love you guys. Let's level up.